Every 16 days, something in deep space switches on. It screams in radio waves for 4 days straight. Then, without warning, it goes silent. And it has been doing this for years. The signal comes from a galaxy 500 million light years away, a distance so vast that the light leaving it today would not reach us until long after every city on Earth had crumbled to dust. And yet, across that impossible gulf, something is keeping perfect time. Astronomers gave it a name without poetry. FRB 1809-16, a fast radio burst, a flash of radio energy so brief it lasts only a thousandth of a second. In that single blink, it releases more energy than our sun pours out in an entire day. When the first of these bursts was discovered, scientists assumed they were one-off events, cosmic accidents, the death cry of some distant star, never to be heard again. But this one came back, and then it came back again. The pattern emerged slowly, hidden inside the noise. 4 days of activity, 12 days of silence, 16 days start to finish, over and over, like a lighthouse turning in the dark. Nothing in the universe is supposed to be this punctual. The cosmos is violent and chaotic. Stars explode without schedule. Black holes feed when they please. So when astronomers found a signal that obeyed a calendar, a quiet unease settled over the field. Because regularity in space demands an explanation. The first question was the most obvious one. Was someone sending it? It is the thought no scientist says out loud too quickly, but everyone considers. A precise, repeating pulse from a single point in the sky is exactly what we once imagined an alien beacon might look like. But the energy was wrong. Whatever produces these bursts is unleashing the power of a sun in a fraction of a second. No technology we can conceive of would broadcast like that. This was not a message. This was a force of nature. And that somehow was more disturbing. Because if nature can keep time this perfectly, we have to ask what kind of clockwork is hiding out there in the dark. The leading suspect is a magnetar, a neutron star, the collapsed core of a dead giant, crushed into a sphere barely the size of a city. A single teaspoon of its matter would weigh as much as a mountain range. And it spins. It spins hundreds of times a second, dragging a magnetic field so powerful it could erase the data from every device on Earth from halfway across the solar system. When a magnetar convulses, when its crust cracks under unimaginable strain, it can fire off a burst of radio energy bright enough to cross the universe. That could explain the screaming, but it does not explain the schedule. Why 16 days? A lone magnetar spinning hundreds of times a second has no reason to fall quiet for 12 days and then wake again. So the theory grew stranger. Perhaps the magnetar is not alone. Perhaps it circles a massive companion star, locked in a deadly 16-day orbit. As it sweeps around, its bursts pierce through the thick, stellar wind of its partner, and for 4 days, the geometry is just right for us to see them. Then it swings behind, hidden, and the signal vanishes. A cosmic eclipse on a 16-day rhythm. It is an elegant idea, but it is only an idea. There is another, that the magnetar itself is wobbling, slowly tumbling end over end, like a spinning top losing its balance, sweeping its beam across the heavens on a 16-day cycle. We would catch it only when the beam crossed our tiny corner of space. We would be standing in the path of a lighthouse we can barely comprehend, and the universe would be turning it toward us, then away, then toward us again. Then the mystery deepened, because FRB 1809-16 was found in a strange place. Most of these signals come from chaotic, star-forming regions, the bright nurseries where new stars blaze to life and die young. But this one sits in a quiet outskirt of its galaxy, a calm neighborhood, a place where a young, violent magnetar should not exist at all. It is as if we traced a scream back to its source and found an empty, peaceful room. And the questions kept multiplying. As more repeating bursts were discovered, astronomers realized something unsettling. The repeaters and the one-time bursts might not be the same thing at all. There may be two entirely different phenomena out there, two separate mysteries, producing nearly identical flashes by completely different means. We named them before we understood them. We may have been hearing two different voices and assuming they were one. And still the signal repeats. Right now as you breathe, that distant object is somewhere in its cycle. either screaming into the void or holding its silence, waiting for the count to reach 4 days, then 16, then beginning again. It was doing this long before humans existed. The bursts arriving at our telescopes tonight left their source when the most complex life on Earth was barely more than soft creatures in an ancient sea. We are catching the end of a message 500 million years in transit, and we still cannot read it. What troubles astronomers most is not what the signal is. It is what it implies. If there is one object out there keeping perfect time across an ocean of light years, there are surely countless others. The sky is full of clocks we cannot see, ticking in frequencies we have only just learned to hear. We built our first radio telescopes less than a century ago. For all of human history before that, these signals were washing over us, unheard, unnoticed, screaming through the silence while we looked up and saw only stars. We have been deaf to the universe almost the entire time we have existed. And now that we can finally listen, the first thing we hear is something that keeps a schedule, something patient, something that does not stop. So the real question is not what is sending the signal from 500 million light years away. The real question is simpler and far more unsettling. If we have only just begun to listen, and we are already hearing things that keep perfect time in the dark, what else is out there, repeating, waiting, that we have not yet learned how to hear?